don't know if I'd really describe Kiriko as a caricature.
Why? She's just like, I feel like she's a caricature of like the typical rebellious, kind of snot-nosed, like little shithead, like teenager sort of thing.
But she like doesn't even achieve that. It's like she's kind of going for it, but just is like falls flat on her face and is annoying.
Hello, we are back. There's a lot to talk about. I think it's safe to say there's a lot to talk about. But today we have Ian and Proto here. Say hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
So, yeah, we have a lot to talk about. I think it's safe to say that we should be opening with the big thing, Season 6. So, what do we think, guys?
I guess I'll go first. Well, of course, with it being the biggest update, I was quite overwhelmed on the first day, to be honest, with a lot of things to do on there. But I was mostly carried away from the story missions.
Right. Yeah, I had a similar reaction. I got on there, and the first thing I did was the story missions. Honestly, Illari is cool, I guess, and Flashpoint, I think it's called, is like fine. We're gonna get to those later, but the story missions is what I was really there for, especially since the PvP hasn't been doing it for me for a good while. I was quite excited, and I have to say, I'm not going to say I'm blown away, but I'm impressed
By the PvE?
Yeah.
Really?
I think it's not as much as we deserved, for sure, but what we did get, I would say, is, for the most part, pretty high quality.
Yeah.
I agree. The missions were well made. Liked how it played out, the story, the hero selection, especially on Liberation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that for the most part, I think that the first mission is fine. The second mission is pretty good, and then the third mission is just a good time. Just a good time.
Yeah, the Gothenburg one is amazing. I love that mission.
It's really when it started picking up, until it just gets cut off. At the end, it's like, I want more, please.
Right. Especially that ending cutscene. That's very intriguing.
Oh yes.
I want to see how Zenyatta and Sombra would interact. But yeah, so that's where I stand. I think the most impressive thing about it is actually the cutscenes. Excuse me. Which is ironically the part you don't actually have to pay for because you can go on YouTube. But I think the cutscenes are the highlight of the PvE. What do you guys think?
I agree. Especially the end with Zenyatta and Ramatra.
Right.
And I even liked how they recreated the shot where Madara was assassinated.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like I don't disagree with you guys. The cutscenes were great. Probably the best part of the PvE, yeah, were the cutscenes, which I think is actually really bad.
Okay.
The best part of a video game is the movie you watch between actually playing it.
To be fair, a lot of my favorite games come down to that. But, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, the cutscenes were great, because it's like getting back to the old character-driven story stuff that is why I think a lot of us fell in love with Overwatch in the first place.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in Ironclad, when you get all those Torbjorn Reinhardt interactions, like, yes, that's what I've been wanting for 7 years.
Dude, there's actually
now we finally get a bit of it.
There's actually like emotional impact. Holy shit.
Yes. It's like, wow. Blizzard hasn't completely gone modern. Haha, Reinhardt's a goofball. Like,
yeah, and I like how they're actually moving things forward finally, other than just waiting for Winston to recall that took 7 years
Yeah,
to actually happen.
It's
And we're even finally seeing the consequences of Winston even pressing that too, with the Petrus Act and the United Nations getting onto him.
Yes, I read that. It's or heard it, I guess. It's pretty interesting where they're going with this. I would say that what interests me most so far is definitely whatever is going on at the very end with Zenyatta. But I don't know how popular of an opinion that is.
yeah, so as you may have seen, I uploaded a video that's just like all the cutscenes basically spliced together.
Yes.
So you can watch through them. And YouTube will show you like the most watched like times of any given video.
Mm-hmm.
And the end cutscene with Zenyatta and Ramatra and all that is like by far has the highest viewage percentage out of that entire video. So like clearly people are interested in watching that ending cutscene.
Right.
Which I thought was really interesting. Because for me, like I liked that end bit. It's obviously a teaser for the next story missions coming up, but like I didn't like it as much as the Ironclad cinematics, where it's like we're seeing character interaction here. Because like the stuff with Zen and Ramatra is like, oh, okay, cool. We finally get a look at like what actually happened with them, you know, like departing the monastery and stuff. But like at the same time, it's not anything like super revolutionary in terms of like, oh, we had no idea that happened. Like we kind of knew that happened.
Right.
So I don't know. It's like I see everybody talking about the Zenyatta ending cliffhanger, and I'm kind of like, yeah, but like I preferred watching Reinhardt and Torbjorn have their heart to heart. Like I thought that was way more interesting to watch.
No, I agree. I think for sheer emotional value, I agree. But what I think switches it up for me, at least in the most personal sense, is whenever like the Iris stuff comes in, the first thing I'm thinking about is Sigma, and that always is what obviously is like the engine of my interest at this point. So yeah, Talon shows up to the Iris dude. You know, that at least to me it screams something about Sigma. So that could be me though. I don't know.
I also want to believe that, you know, Ramatra might have possibly been behind ordering Sombra and Widowmaker to get after Zenyatta.
That's possible.
Because it's also possible that Ramatra might have been behind Mandata's assassination.
Ooh, you think so?
I'm certainly convinced.
Really?
Because why else would Talon take out a guy like him? Because he knows that it would cause the Omnics to rebel against humanity because they don't have someone to look up to anymore.
I mean, I see it more... Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was done with that part.
Okay, I see it more as Talon sees Zenyatta as someone who could potentially cool down Ramatra, you could maybe say. Where it's like, Talon wants Ramatra to be on a rampage, basically.
Right.
Because he's causing their whole, you know, evolution through conflict thing by creating a war. What could stop Ramatra? Well, his old brother, Zenyatta, might be able to talk Ramatra down from doing this. And that's why Talon wants to kill Zenyatta. And they could probably even do something, if they eliminated Zenyatta in the right way, it might even further fuel Ramatra's rampage. Kind of like how killing Mandata helped fuel it.
I think there's something to that. That's obviously... I honestly don't even think it's incompatible with what my thoughts are.
Yeah, because to add on to the thing is, when you read Mandata's bio, it was mentioned that the person responsible for assassinating him was never brought to justice. So they didn't even know who it was, other than Tracer.
Right. Yeah, I would say that my assessment of it, right, is that my prediction at least is that they're trying to get to Zenyatta because I think it's safe to say that whatever the Iris is, it's very, very powerful. And it would have, if like Talon could take control of it, it might actually like further their cause of like driving the Omnics to rebel, right?
Right.
Are we following here?
Yeah, I'm keeping up.
All right. And I think that, at least to my mind, based on literally just that one line that Sigma has, which admittedly is not a ton, but it is a very significant line. I remember Ian and I being in that game when we first heard it, and like just stopping and staring at each other in silence for like a full 4 seconds. But I think what they might be doing is, you know, Sigma obviously has this like access to other planes and stuff like that. So I feel like what they might be planning is to bring Zenyatta to Sigma, or to somehow blackmail Zenyatta into getting Sigma into the Sanctum, so that Sigma might be able to like converse with the Iris and something like take control of it. Loose theory, but it's what's going through my mind.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll hear something about Sigma for all we know for the next batch. Because for certain, you know, it's guaranteed the next theme of the story missions will be Talon.
Yes, I think that's likely. I don't know. What do we have any ideas? What do you guys specifically think it might be about?
Just the whole ending cinematic, or the Iris specifically?
Just like what the next batch will be like.
I certainly think it'll be Talon focused.
Okay.
Because this set of missions was all Null Sector focused. Like, literally, the season was called Invasion.
Right.
The Battle Pass was Null Sector themed. Like, very much so, they focused on Null Sector as the enemy for this one. I think the next set of story missions, assuming we get a next set of story missions, is going to be Talon-based. It's going to have the Serve Awesome mission with Zenyatta and Genji, and it looks like Winston and Farah are like the other two that are going to be part of that. And it's going to be them fighting Talon units, like what we saw in Archives, like Retribution. Updated, of course, to be Overwatch 2 PvE versions, and probably have new enemy types added. Beyond that, though, I would assume there'd be other Talon-focused missions if they were to have a Talon-themed season and set of missions like that. But, like, I don't know. Like, I'm curious what that would actually be. Like, where would they be fighting? Who would be involved? What would be the premise of it?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have enough clues to fully be guessing what's going to happen. But I'd say that based on what we had, or what we do have, it's looking promising. And I hope it's not too far into 2024 that we get the next batch.
Yeah. I guess at this point we're like fully just talking about PvE. What do you guys think is like the future of PvE for the time being?
What do you mean specifically?
Like, when are we going to see more story missions? How are they going to be presented? How many new story missions are we going to get? It's like, what is the next step in the releasing of PvE content that you think is going to be coming?
I think realistically, it's probably going to be similar to the Invasion bundle we already got now, where you'll have to pay up, get the bundle with some coins with it too for the pass. I mean, it also depends on how many missions there are, which will still probably be about 3.
Yeah, I personally, I think the 3 per batch is probably what's likely. I think that's probably going to be the standard. And I would, if I had to guess when it'll come out, maybe like late winter 2024, if I had to guess. So, like,
you think it's gonna be more than a year away?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, to be fair, they do want to use the opportunity they have to improve upon the PvE story missions with the feedback they'll receive from Invasion, which, of course, you gave your own feedback with that video you made. and a bunch of others throughout the forums and Reddit.
Right.
Because there definitely is a lot of room for improvement on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I don't know. You really think it's going to be that late? Because at least to me, I think the latest it could be is like May of next year.
Yeah, I kind of suspect it might turn into another sort of yearly thing, kind of like how Archive was, where it's like every August we get the new exciting batch of missions.
Man, that's how you kill interest.
As if they haven't already.
Fair point.
It's like they release one episode for your favorite TV show, and then you have to wait an entire year. It's just, it feels like it's never going to be done, and you'll lose interest over time just because of how long it's just been taking, and you move on to other stuff. By the time they do release that kind of stuff, it's too late. You already lost interest. You moved on. Right. Because that's what I felt like with the Invasion story. Like, if they did release it much earlier, yeah, it would have been mind-blowing. Of just how late they were.
Yeah, no, it's... Yet again, I think it's safe to say that Blizzard has, for the 18th time, just shattered their own kneecaps. I don't know if it's because they don't have enough manpower on the PvE, or if it's because they are just it's just that hard to develop. But yeah, man, if it's that slow, I think this might have all been for naught.
What do you guys think about the theory? I assume you've seen this theory that Ramatra was either supposed to release with these PvE missions or after them, based off of what we see in the Toronto mission, where there's like the silhouette of him and we hear his voice, but we don't actually see who he is in that mission. And none of the Overwatch agents know who he is at that point.
Yeah, I think if they actually went by the original plan that Jeff Kaplan was envisioning, I think we would have had no clue who Ramatra was. Because I think he would have been like some secret character that like we would have not known about. And that Zenyatta cutscene would have probably not even played at all in Ironclad.
Oh, absolutely not. I totally got the impression the Zen, like, post-credit cutscene was, like, something they tacked on to just get people interested in having more story missions. Because that felt like that had nothing to do with anything else in these sets of missions.
So basically you're saying, like, it would be... So Ramatra would be kind of like the Doomfist of Talon, where it's like, we know what he looks like, we know the voice, but we don't know who he is, and so he comes out at like the same time that some big thing happens in the story.
Right, like, because I'm just trying to think, like, the original vision of this, the PvE originally would have launched with Overwatch 2 in its entirety.
Right.
And so, like, would Ramatra have also released with Overwatch 2 at that point? Or would it, again, have been, like, a staggered release where he's, like, the first new hero after it launches? But since the PvE launched with Overwatch 2, you'd have the Toronto mission where they sort of tease him, plus everything else that's teasing Ramatra at that point.
Yeah.
And I do also want to reiterate that from the previews from like both BlizzConline and the June 16th, 2022 reveal, they mentioned like how heroes are like back together and they need a new generation. And one of their goals was to find out who was behind these attacks on Null Sector and what their motivation is. And at the time, we didn't even know, who Ramatra was, other than that post-credit thing for Storm Rising.
Yeah.
Which, I still remember that line, "You have my attention."
Right.
Yeah, I find it so fascinating just to think about, like, what was originally intended with this type of stuff in Overwatch 2.
Right.
It's like, the actual Overwatch 2 and PvE we've gotten is some, like, horribly scrapped together, like, them trying to, like, get things out the door after they've been wasting years on it and, like, nothing sufficiently developed to what they wanted it to be. And now they're like, well, we gotta put out something. Put out the PvP. Almost a year later, we'll put out the PvE. And Ramatra was going to tie into the PvE, but we need hero releases to keep people interested, so throw him out in December. Like, I don't know. It seems sort of It's amazing just looking at it all from like a bit of like a step back and just realizing just how choppy everything is.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it's safe to say that like nothing has gone to plan here. Like absolutely nothing has gone to plan. It's just
and yet it's still chugging along.
It's still chugging along, but man, they have shattered their kneecaps so many times. It's yeah, it's not great. But okay, I don't know. We have anything else to say about the PvE for now? I think honestly,
we got the event missions.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you guys think? Because I think it's like it's not even archives levels of good. It's just like
it's bare bones, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's fun enough, I would say, that like if we got one of these every season or every other season, I would enjoy that. I'd be like, it's a nice little PvE experience, something fun that has like these variants that sort of mix it up. It's nice, but like I'm worried that it's going to be like archives, where it's like, oh, once a year there's a season with PvE event stuff in it. So I mean, we'll see what the cadence actually is, but like I don't have high hopes for missions like this being a common thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's like probably no wonder why they made this part free to begin with for all players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do appreciate they did make it free, because if you still had to pay for something that was limited time, yeah, that would have been even more of a slap in the face.
That would not have gone over well if you had to pay for the underground PvE.
Yeah, oh god, can you imagine? Fuck, dude. It would have been... It's already so over. It would have been even more over.
Yeah, because I still think $15 for what you get, if you don't care about the battle pass at all, is not worth it. Not at all.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, they need to like sell it separately, or put more value into it. Like put some more in there that would like let you. I mean, hell, let the event mission itself be permanent if you bought it. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, but I mean, granted, whenever they put something up for sale, the number of people who are going to be interested in it drops like immeasurably. Right? Like the sheer number of people I know who have just been like, no, I'm not going to play it because it's paid is huge. Just like huge.
I know a lot of people like that too.
Like I know that Zek and Ness and Jazz and maybe Diego all have that sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to... oh, there is one other thing I do... Yeah, the other thing I will mention about the PvE that did fascinate me a lot was the whole lore codex. Like, being able to learn each of the heroes, like, what their perspectives was.
Yeah, oh, dude. I love those.
Yeah. It actually gave you a reason to replay those missions.
That's actually exactly what I've been doing. Like, the only reason I've been replaying, like, at all has been to, like, play as different characters to unlock new journals.
Like, and just hear different dialogues along with it, too.
Yeah.
And I guess also Null Sector. I like the whole dismemberment system. They had two. It actually had a lot of strategy within it, especially when you were playing on Legendary difficulty. Because one of the biggest priorities you always had to do on Legendary was shoot off their arm cannon, just so they won't be able to shoot you at all.
Right. Yeah.
But speaking of Legendary, I thought the challenge on there was fair and reasonable. Like, yeah, it could be frustrating, but that's the entire point of Legendary.
I honestly haven't played Legendary yet. Have you, Ian?
No. I mean, I just don't really have much interest in like, oh, beat it on the hardest difficulty. It's like, it's not fun at that level for me.
Really?
It's just like annoying because you have to do all these stupid strategies. Where it's like, I gotta hole up in a closet for 10 minutes to get through this one wave. It's like, that's not fun. You're just doing chores at that point. Like, I don't want to play that.
We actually had something. Maybe it was a bug but Proto and I, when we were playing the mission, like not the mission, the event, Underworld mission earlier, we had this weird thing happen where like probably double the number of enemies that were supposed to spawn.
Quadruple. It was quadruple. Yeah, because literally after we made TS1 come to life, you know how normally when you're on your way to the Underworld, there would be like some null sectors in the way?
Mm-hmm.
Well, instead of them spawning a normal batch, it quadrupled the spawn. And we were doing this on Expert.
Yeah, man.
When you're going... like, but there's always like a huge wave of robots there, right?
Typically, yeah, but it was so many. There wasn't really that much when I played it, even on Legendary.
This wasn't. I wouldn't even describe this as like a huge wave. This was like a ridiculous wave. Like, it was so many that it was almost like chugging my PC.
They sent out Ramatra's entire army after us. Like, just deployed all of them there.
And I would note that, like, TS1 just exploded the second he walked into it.
Yeah, instantly. He was useless.
Exploded.
Wow.
Like,
I was like, wow, what was the entire point of collecting batteries? Because honestly, like, to be realistic, I would have just gone to the terminal, activated, did nothing, and boom, mission complete.
Pretty much, yeah. There's no point.
Yeah, they don't really explain why TS1 needs to be activated, because like he doesn't really play a part in like getting to the terminal there.
Just gotta extend that playtime, man.
Yeah, like they see. Oh, this is one of the issues I have. It's like they at least could have had like the door in front of the Underworld access point, like there was an Uprising, and then like the robot like breaks through the door, and that's like, oh, that's the justification for why you had to boot up TS1, because only he could break through the door and get to the access
That would make sense.
But no, there's no door. It's just, oh, boot him up, have him walk forward and die, and oh, it doesn't matter. It's like, what? Why did you spend 10 minutes booting this thing up?
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
I do want to point out too, I did mention this in a tweet of mine. One of the annoying things about the cutscenes is the fact that they're actually streamed rather than being local.
Oh, are they? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're streamed. So if you're wondering why the quality of it didn't look great, that's why.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if you have a really bad internet connection, oh, have fun watching those, because they might not either load them at all, or it'll just look so bad, like you're watching a 140p video from a 2005 YouTube vid.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was even worse on the test server that I had access to beforehand, because like for my video of just playing all the cinematics together, it took me forever to get like clean HD footage of like the entire clip. So I just had to like go into like the lore codex thing where you can watch back the cinematics and just do it over and over and over and over again until I'd happen to get an instance where it would be HD like right away, instead of taking like 4 or 5 seconds to like properly go into HD. It's like, yeah. I knew, I was like, I have good internet speed as well. The average person trying to watch these, it's gonna look like ass.
Yeah, I get why they did it, which is mainly to prevent data miners from like extracting them, because that's how they did with the Sojourn animated short, which was also streamed.
But like, what's
and
the
it saved storage.
What's the problem with that though? Like, why are they scared? Why are they scared of people data mining? Like, what's the harm in that? People are gonna do it anyways.
I don't know. It's just. Well, with Sojourn's animated short with that case, yeah, it made sense, because they didn't want another Kiriko-style leak.
Okay,
yeah,
I guess
also
that's true.
For the Sojourn one, I don't think they had, like... The game didn't patch when the Sojourn short released.
No, it didn't.
Did it?
There
might have been, like, a pre... Like, I think there's probably, like, a pre-download type patch thing for it, but, like... But yeah, in that case, I could see why. But for the invasion missions, like, there was a patch that included the final stuff that... Couldn't they have put it in there? I guess maybe they were just worried that like the size of those files would be so big that they didn't want to add that to the download and whatnot.
It would be problematic for the console version because keep in mind the game's also on the Nintendo Switch, and they don't want that to be over 32 gigabytes.
Right.
Because that's the max internal storage that the Nintendo Switch can handle.
Dude, the Switch was a mistake. Having Overwatch on this Switch was a fucking mistake.
People asked.
Ugh.
Yeah, I actually know some Switch players that were only able to play it on there.
That's wild, dude.
I
had to play JQ on Switch when Ness was here.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Well,
you had to play Battle for Olympus on there.
Yeah, I had to play Battle for Olympus on a Switch. It was miserable, just completely miserable. Because it's much harder for Ness to play Lucio on a Switch than it is for me to play JQ on a Switch. So,
have you tried playing it with motion controls?
That's infinitely worse.
Well, I know there was one more thing too. Oh yeah, the XP you get for playing the story missions are so insulting.
It's pitiful, dude. It's pitiful.
You spent 30 minutes to only get 400 XP.
It's completely insane.
It's ironic because the Underworld actually gives you the normal amount of XP, but not the story missions.
Right.
Giving you less incentives to even replay them. Like, yeah, I get they might have been worried that people might have cheesed through the battle pass, and they want to incentivize people to buy more tier skips. But come on. You could have at least added them into, like, weekly or daily challenges if you really got to.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the best way to summarize things is, like, the PvE is great, everything surrounding the PvE is awful.
Yeah, I'm basically... I think that's really everything I have to say about the PvE.
What about you, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's we finally got it after all these years.
Right.
And it's okay.
It is okay.
Hopefully it was worth the 4 to 5 years we had to suffer and endure with the lack of content we dealt with in Overwatch 1.
Right. I'd say it's safely probably not.
Yeah.
It's just like the amount of time that we waited versus the amount of content that we got was so lopsided, it's ridiculous.
Am I satisfied with it? Yes, I am, but the wait? No.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the PvE. I don't know. I think that's about it. So I feel like the next topic is obviously Illari. What a bizarre character. Also,
especially the marketing on her.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, especially the fact that her origin story didn't come out until like the day after she released onto the server, like into the live game. Like, it's bizarre. I don't think that's ever happened. Also,
it's funny we only learned about her first because of some leak that some Symmetra player put out.
I was just gonna say, it's also funny that yet again we have a character that was leaked, because Ian and I track, like, you know, when was the last time that a character came out that wasn't leaked beforehand, and I think we concluded that it was Baptiste.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, Echo didn't get leaked. I don't recall.
I would say that Echo got leaked because they said that she was coming as a character, and that everything was pointing to her. Like, it was almost...
That's different, though, because that wasn't, like, an unintentional...
Yeah.
Yeah, she got released, wait, no, Junker Queen got leaked. Never mind, that stupid streamer.
Yeah, she got leaked. It's,
Yeah, look, every Overwatch 2 hero got leaked one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Lifeweaver got so close to being properly
so
revealed.
Close. So close.
1 day off. Oh.
I knew he wasn't meant to be revealed early. After the leak came out, Play Overwatch just said, well, I guess we'll have to reveal him this early. Yep. And they basically gave you the call, like, okay, yeah, we're gonna be releasing footage tomorrow, just so you know, we played him already.
I still think it's so funny how Jazz was like, I'm thinking it might be a druid-based support. And I was like, nah, that's ridiculous. What are you talking about? And then, like, 5 minutes later, Proto, you sent me the you sent me the leak, and it literally said Druid-based support, and you know how in Tom and Jerry, their heads will turn into like an ass, like the head of an ass. Like that's how I felt. Like just like it's just I sent it to Jazz immediately, and she was like, "There's no fucking way."
What's even more funny is, like, after that whole leak got out, people immediately assumed that, like, Blizzard themselves released that PC Gamer article because of some controversy. It was like, no!
What controversy?
I don't recall what it was, but it was like they made one. In the article itself, it mentioned that Lifeweaver is pansexual, so they assumed that part of the article was it was like some cover up they did, supposedly. It was the Overwatch League esports thing. How the teams were suing Blizzard because they weren't being paid enough. That was the one.
Ian, did we talk about the Overwatch League in the last episode? I think we did, right?
I think we did.
Yeah,
you guys covered it. I saw the title.
How completely fucking... Oh, that's right. It was, like, actually the title. Just how, like, completely fucking over it is for the Overwatch League. Right. So... Yeah, I don't know. Ian, I still feel like it'd be really funny for you to do, like, a video or stream just, like, ranking the hero leaks by, like, how egregious they were and how stupid they were. I feel like...
Hero leak tier list.
The leak tier list.
There's something to do there. Yeah, that would be...
Oh, yeah. Baptiste gets an automatic S tier.
Yeah, like, only the... Well, actually, no. You wouldn't even put the unleaked characters on the list.
Yeah, how would it be ranked? Would, like, the higher ranks be, like, the more, like, ridiculous, just like, well, that hero's release was totally botched?
Yes, I think the higher, I think, like, the more, like, completely stupid and ridiculous and, like, negligent that the leak is, the higher ranked it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We could just do it right now. From, like, each hero, Anna, I think she even got leaked. The first one, right?
Yeah, she did. Yep.
Did she get... What was the leak for her?
It was a screenshot.
Oh, wait, no, I even remember, hell, the game Overwatch itself got leaked because they filed a trademark for it.
Yes.
And people figured it out, wait, that's their new game.
So, yeah, I don't think Doomfist got leaked. Doomfist didn't get leaked.
He didn't get leaked. No.
He did.
Wait,
remember
really?
the PTR patch that was titled Summer Games / Doomfist?
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, he got leaked.
I'll never forget, like, the day that Doomfist was revealed, because I was sitting in a restaurant in Rome, and I just got a notification on my phone, and I just looked at it, and my eyes, like, literally almost jumped out of their sockets. And I remember,
Doomfist is real.
I remember my mom looking at me like, what's going on? And I was just like, long story. But needless to say, the second that dinner was finished, I ran up to the hotel room and watched everything over and over and over again. Man, now I'm sad because look what happened to Doomfist.
I know.
So,
dude, I got full force punched by Doomfist the other day when I was Baby Diva, and I didn't die. And I was like, what does this man become?
What has happened? Like, how dare they forsake him like this?
Can't even one-shot Baby Diva anymore.
They took like what I would argue was the most unique kit in the game, and just made him budget Winston. Like, it's so sad, dude.
It just feels so underwhelming because the punch is just like, oh, I knocked you back a little bit, haha.
Yeah, man, it's
so it's like, oh wow, yeah, that's a total power fantasy right there.
Yeah, just booping things.
The only power fantasy I receive from Doomfist players is,
And they say chivalry is dead.
Yeah, man, that's the power fantasy. It's and just the cruel irony that the reason they reworked him was to reduce CC outside of the tank role. And yeah, I'm just gonna say we should look at the last few patches. Like, just
we only, not flat out stuns, but slow CC, I guess you could call it.
yeah.
Hindering? Or how would you call it?
Brig has CC though in her ult, like a stun.
Yeah,
She should.
Which she should.
that's in the ultimate,
Which she
to
should.
be fair.
But,
I'm not really complaining.
But it's. I just think it's kind of a cruel irony that they ruined this unbelievably cool and interesting character just for like a reason that they went back on later. So yeah, that's my depressed rant. Anyways, Illari.
Yeah, Illari.
Anyways,
we need to
Illari.
talk about her. Should we go by her backstory first or gameplay?
Let's start with her gameplay.
Okay. Yeah.
I think her kit is really interesting, even though it's kind of strange and convoluted. It's I think Ness put it best when he said that this is a Smite character. Like that's what this is. This is Illari is just a Smite character. She's so much like of a MOBA-esque character. Like just save basically exclusively for her primary fire. She's basically just a MOBA character, which I think is really interesting. And I like her kit. I just think that her jump is really weird and unintuitive.
The outburst?
Really?
I think it's really... Because, like, when I started using it, before I watched the guide on what she did, I was like, what the fuck does this do?
Yeah,
I
I remember how many console players were confused, because the thing is like, you can't actually, like, F1 as easily, so you have to actually look into Hero Gallery.
Yeah, and especially since, like, she goes farther if you don't hold forward, which is really strange. And it also is, like, best if you're already in the air, which is really strange. It's not exactly, like, obvious that what it does is boot people, which is really strange. And I'm not going to say it's a poorly designed ability. I just think that it has some weird quirks that they need to iron out to make it more, like, obvious how it works. Like, something that makes it more intuitive. Like, for example, I think it should send you further if you're holding forwards, or it shouldn't make a difference if you use it in the air or not. But that's just me.
I got knocked off the map a few times by that ability.
Oh yeah, it is pretty funny. But
I don't really have much to say about that ability.
I like it. I think it feels good as mobility.
I like it. I just think it's really strange, and they need to do a better job, like, expressing exactly how it works.
Yeah, and it does fit well with her character too.
Yes, it does.
Especially with the lines where, like, she says, like, stay back or, like, stay away.
Right. I'd also say that another thing that is kind of, I'm not going to say frustrating, but kind of strange about her kit is the fact that she swings a fucking sword and it does 30 damage. It's like the basic melee damage. I think that's really strange. I think they could have done something really interesting, similar to, like, what they did with Wrecking Ball or something, where, like, or Baptiste, where, like, a button that's usually something else, like, has an actual ability bound to it. So, like, wouldn't it be cool if her melee was slower, but it did more damage? Like,
yeah,
or, like, if you hold it,
Yes.
it charges and it's on a cooldown. Like,
I mean, like, yes, but at the same time, I don't think that's, like, a necessary thing for her kit. I think the issue you'd run into there is it would just be unnecessary, like, extra complication of what she does.
Yeah, but I think there's, like, something to be said for, like, if you're going to put a sword in a character's design, the sword should be, like, something at least somewhat interesting.
Right, the fact that it's, like, we took a sword inspired by, like, actual, like, Incan weaponry, or whatever it's based on.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we turned it into a gun. It's not a sword at all.
But it is a sword.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Okay.
It is a sword. It's like, it's a gun sword.
It is, but it's a gun. It's not a sword. It's a gun.
So if that's the case, then why can't we allow Genji to do more damage when he uses his blade when meleeing?
I
why
would
is
be
he
fine
not
with
the
that.
other gun?
I'd be fine with that, honestly.
Or smacking you with the gun should do more damage, because it does actually hurt a lot if you get hit by the gun.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like even if they just did like what they did with Zenyatta, where they just made it 45 damage instead of 30, I don't know. I think
Yeah,
it would
but, like,
at least be interesting.
Illari is someone who wants to keep her distance from the enemy. That's her whole mobility mechanic.
Yes.
Is she pushes people away to keep the distance.
Yes.
That's her Zenyatta snap kick. So giving her like a super strong melee in addition to that is just like you're treading into Life Weaver territory there, where it's like, okay, different parts of this kit are in object contrast to each other.
I know.
Like,
But granted-
I'm glad they kept Illari as simple and straightforward as she is.
Okay, but,
that's,
like-
I think, one of the strongest aspects of her.
Okay, but like, can we agree that like just making it do more damage would not be like a terribly strange or complicated thing? It would honestly almost just be more flavor at that point, because she is largely long range.
I think it would. I don't think they should do that, because I think it would just be more complication. Because again, it's like, like when people are always complaining about like the little like things in Overwatch that the casual average player is oblivious to, and so like, Illari does more melee damage. It's like, why?
Because
Sure,
it's a
she has
sword. What do you mean?
Sure,
Why?
she has a sword, but Genji has a sword. Why doesn't his melee do more damage? D.Va's a big-ass mech. When she punches you, why doesn't that do more damage than Mercy smacking you with her fist? Like,
Actually, as far as I know,
You could also ask the same thing with Zenyatta, because he does more melee damage and knock you back further.
yeah,
right, he's a levitating, skinny-ass robot. Like, why does he have anything special in that regard?
I would also say though that like at the same time, with actually, is this true or not? If you hit the melee key when ulting as Genji, I think it just swings the sword.
It does. It just swings the sword.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Same thing with Reinhardt and Brigitte.
Yeah, that's fine.
It baffles me though that Doomfist doesn't use his gauntlet when he melees.
I know. I've always thought that was funny.
You have any idea how unwieldy that thing must be? He needs the quick punch. He goes for the light jab with the unarmored
I think
hand.
there's something to that. Yeah, I don't know. It's similar to like Ramatra's punch, where it just genuinely like bothers me that it doesn't do more damage on it, like a physical direct hit with a fucking sword. Like, I don't know.
Like, I understand thematically it is weird and doesn't really make sense, but like, I think it would be even worse overall if they were trying to tweak every little mechanic to fit with something like that, because then you end up with all these really random, arbitrary, like, hero changes and adjustments and inconsistencies from one hero to the next that just drastically overcomplicates things in a game that frankly is already rather complicated with all the heroes it has.
I guess so. I don't know. I do feel like the quick melee is something somewhat underutilized in the game, but yeah, I don't know.
I use it all the time.
No, I mean like
Dude,
in what they can do with it. In what they can do with it, I think it's underutilized. But
I would agree with that. I do like that there are some heroes with a bit of variance. Junker Queen and Zenyatta having like their own special little things with the melee, I think is really cool. And I'd like to see more heroes that do sort of utilize that as like a unique mechanic.
so then, what's your
I
problem?
don't think Illari.
Really?
Because
Why?
it doesn't fit Illari's kit. Because she's not close range engaging with people. She literally has an ability to distance herself from people who are close.
Okay, I guess.
She doesn't need to have a strong melee in close range.
I mean, I don't think 45 damage is a terribly strong melee.
But still, it's a tweak that doesn't really change anything other than just making her kit more convoluted. Like, why add 15 damage randomly to a character? Like,
but it's not random.
Why?
It's not random though, because she has a sword.
Why not give Diva 15 more damage on her melee?
But yeah, but Diva doesn't.
Why not give Sigma 15 less damage on his melee?
But I mean, but that's the thing. I would say it's different because it's not like Diva. Sure, it's a mech, but like, it's just a punch, right? Like, I feel like if it's just a punch, it should just do like 30 damage. But like, it's a big ass sword, dude. The fucking weapon is the size of her. Like,
do you seriously think Illari can swing her sword with more force than Diva's mech can punch?
No, I understand that, but it's just, I don't know. For me, when I swing a sword in a game and it does like the same amount of damage as like punching someone, like, maybe it's the Souls player in me, but especially if it's a giant sword, it's like, this just feels so wrong. Like,
I get it. I totally get it, especially with the sound effect they give her melee to the when she swings the sword. I love that.
Right.
It does feel weird to think that it's only the same damage as just Mercy slapping someone.
Right.
But like, I think they made the right decision to not tweak its actual damage at all, because that's just adding convoluted numbers for convoluted numbers' sake, basically.
All right. Well, moving on then. What do we think about her main weapon?
I'd like it if I was good at sniping, but I'm not.
Yeah,
so.
That's kind of my opinion on it too.
Me too. Like, sometimes I can pop off with her, just from the solar rifle alone.
Right. Am I correct in hearing that it doesn't have fall off when it's rapid fired, but it does at full charge?
I think it does have a tiny some fall off if you're doing it from a really long distance.
Oh
okay.
yeah, I'm fairly certain it does.
Okay, so
actually, here,
in both modes it does. Which
right
I'm just
now.
gonna say right now is really fucking strange because it's not how light works.
Right? Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like,
it's light. That's not.
We're
how
playing
light
a
works.
video game here. There's no logic. How can Genji deflect magic and fire with a sword?
Well, to be fair, you could say that, like, the air itself somehow diminishes the light by, like, filtering it in a weird way that makes it less potent. I don't know. I mean, how does firing a laser pointer at someone deal damage? Like,
I mean, if it's really, really hot.
I guess.
Uh.
Like, is that what's happening here? How does it heal them? Oh yeah, you tweak it a little bit, and now it heals people.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's an interesting weapon. I don't dislike it. I don't love it. It's just like, it's a hit scan beam that can headshot. Because I don't think Genji can deflect it. Right? It's just like a beam.
I did so. Just win. I win in game. It takes like 7 shots to kill an enemy with critical hits only from 70+ meters.
Right.
And it has a tiny projectile. It's actually not hit scan.
You're fucking telling me that the light, the fucking laser, going the speed of light.
Yeah, it's actually it's a very fast projectile, but yeah, because it had a delay before it reached the target.
It wasn't just lag.
Yeah, my ping was at 60. I can assure you it's not.
Yeah. Huh.
Huh.
Yeah,
Alright.
I do know it's like really small though, like the hit area of it.
All right. Well,
You know, like that's fine. Make it more challenging.
all right then. Well, moving on to her healing beam. It has a limited range, right? Am I correct in saying that it has a limited range?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does up to 350 HP if you decide to use all of that on a single target.
Which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a lot for how much healing output you get out of it. And
Yeah.
then to add on with one of the next abilities we're going to touch on is the Pylon.
Dude, the Pylon is
I love
so
the Pylon.
goofy.
I love it. It's probably OP, but I love it.
Yeah, just you get like 40 HP for like each burst you get out of it.
Oh, is it 40? It felt like 50 or 60 to me, but alright.
It's 40.
Huh.
At least from what I could tell from that quote-unquote leaked patch note thingy that I'm not even sure if it's true.
So what do you think would be a better nerf to it? Lowering the amount of healing per burst or lowering the rate of burst?
Yeah, I would say either lowering the healing, like how much it heals per burst, or just slowing the rate of the burst healing.
That's what I'm asking. Like, which one do you think would be better?
I don't know. I'd say one of those two is the right direction. I don't know which would necessarily be better, though.
Yeah, actually, let me look at the alleged...
I mean, she's supposed to be a single target healer, largely, right? For the most part?
With her, like, alternate fire healing, certainly.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know, maybe it would make more sense for it to just fire slower? I don't know. If you're going single target, that would make more sense.
But I think the Pylon is supposed to sort of, like, give her utility beyond just the single target healing.
Okay, so maybe you just didn't...
So, like, you
reduce
can
the
single
healing.
target heal, like, the tank to keep them up, and then to keep, like, everyone else in check, you just have the Pylon working passively behind you.
Which makes sense, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just pasted what the alleged nerf is.
Healing decreased from 40 to 30. Recovery increased from 0.8 to 0.9 seconds. Shields decreased from 75 to 50. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not... take this with a...
Yeah, if that's
grain of salt.
if that's real, that's like fine. That's enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I
I know you can't speak on the leaks, Ian, so...
and then
No.
her ultimate.
Captive son.
I feel like her ultimate is the single most, probably one of the single most unintuitive things I've ever added to the game. It's very cool, but it's very unintuitive. It's very strange. It doesn't really...
Yeah, the way it interacts with, like, some of the heroes, it just... I don't know, because some of it's, like, it felt like it should have been blocked or it should have not hit you, but it did anyway.
It's also... I also would like to note that it's yet another projectile ult, which I think is fine, but they tend to be really funny because this, as far as I can tell, the projectile is actually pretty slow, which means that...
I once had a Genji deflect it.
Yeah, which means...
Yeah, it's so easy to eat it as Diva.
Yeah, which means, like, Diva or, like, Sigma will probably not have much issue with it. So, I don't know, that might actually balance out the fact that once it lands, it's completely fucking ridiculous. Because, let's be honest, it's completely fucking ridiculous.
Even when it lands, Kiriko can actually cleanse you out of it.
Okay, but that's Kiriko. Kiriko is...
More reason to always run Kiriko.
Kiriko, like, I'm starting to slowly realize that even in the game, I want to fucking wring Kiriko's neck. Like, you know, it's gotten to the point where I've just realized that even in game, like, she's just insufferable. So, yeah, so... Basically, the way it works is that she fires this projectile, right? And anyone caught in the splash of the project... Because I don't think the projectile itself does any damage, right?
It does, actually.
I thought it does.
But anyone caught in the splash damage of the projectile gets this status effect put on them. And if a certain amount of damage is... Like, a certain threshold is reached... to a target with the effect on them, they explode, which can actually chain reaction into the other ones. It's a really interesting ult. I feel like it's a little unintuitive. It should probably... because there's so much, like, light effects that I can barely tell what's happening. Which is kind of funny. But, I don't know... It also slows you when you have the effect on you, which is completely insane. So, I don't know. What do we think of this ult? Because, do we know how much damage it does when it explodes?
I'll need to look it up.
I mean, you're in the practice range, aren't you?
I just closed that.
Oh, you just closed it? Alright.
Here, I could look it up on our wiki super quickly.
Yeah, I'm checking it right now.
If I had to guess, it's probably 120. That's my guess.
So, damage. 5 direct hit damage, 50 splash damage, and then 120 damage dealt when the Sunstruck explodes.
Right, okay. So, 5... You said, what was the explosion? 50?
50. So 55 from just getting hit by the... If it hits you directly and Sunstruck doesn't go off, it's 55 damage.
So it's 175 max.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so Tracer and Widowmaker won't survive that.
That's
Good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, and when you're hit by it, it slows you down by 40%.
But also, of course, you need to take damage for it to detonate. So
yeah,
and I'm guessing the threshold is probably like 25.
I think it depends on how much health you have for one.
Oh god, that's even less intuitive.
I think. I'm not sure.
I think it would make it, but like if it detonates and it does 55 on a direct hit, and then you take 25 damage, and then the 120 you're dead. That's really funny, actually. I kind of like that.
And a marked enemy receives a total of 90 damage. The Sunstruck will detonate.
Oh, so it is just an insta kill on a 200 health character.
Yeah, but it requires them to take 90 damage. Basically.
But that's not hard to do. So that's okay. That's pretty funny. I like that. I like that.
And then, of course, it can cause a chain reaction if the enemies are close to each other.
Yeah, that's funny. I like that.
Basically, Tracer's old chain reaction talent.
That's fucking hilarious. I might have to play her now.
She's fun. I like playing her.
If that's what they're gonna do with the ult, that's and they don't botch the ult, that's pretty fun. I like that.
You might as well do it before it possibly goes. Actually, oh, it goes live on Thursday. Never mind.
Yeah. It's a completely ridiculous ult, and it slows you on top of that, which is hilarious. What's the ult charge on it? Do we have any idea?
We know the points. It's 2,420 points for you to get it.
So it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see people getting it all the time.
Well, she
charges quickly with all her healing and damage.
It's kind of like a Moira situation. I believe Moira actually has the second highest requirement in terms of just points, which is really funny.
I'll actually need to see that. Because I don't even think it is Moira.
Because I think Hog and Moira, I think, have the two highest costs. Or no.
Tracer gets it the fastest.
Never mind, the highest cost... Oh, no, okay. No.
The highest is Zarya.
Oh, is it? Okay. I think it might be Beat. And
Tracer's Pulse Bomb is like 1,260.
And then Beat, I know, is also pretty high.
For Lucio, let me see... Oh, Lucio's is the same as Illari.
Oh, never mind. Okay. So yeah, Illari is an interesting character. Moving on to her story, I would just like to call out Blizzard for stealing my D&D character's backstory.
You had a D&D character?
Because they stole my D&D character's backstory. That's literally what they did.
Wow, that's quite a wild accusation.
I mean, Ian can attest, it's like strangely the same. Like,
who knows? Maybe they just broke into your place and just looked at it and it was like, okay, yeah, we'll use that.
Well, no, it's like a disgraced warrior accidentally killed their entire tribe sort of thing. Like, it's basically
any other story that's like that
among the Overwatch characters.
No, like outside of Overwatch, like
I'm sure there's plenty. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty.
I mean, I don't take.
It's
a bit of a trope in and of itself. In fact, I bet I can find it on TV tropes.
I don't take credit for coming up with the idea of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting backstory. I feel like something that does irk me a little bit is they've yet again introduced another random faction.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, Illari is the first and only hero at the moment to have no connection to any existing factions or heroes at all.
I just think it's really strange because they've just introduced this entire new faction that, as far as we can tell, has been wiped out, which I guess means it doesn't matter. But it's pretty strange. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't find it particularly interesting.
It's hard for me to connect with her, really.
Yeah, that was something I noticed.
She's
like when I was watching the origin story for her. It's like, oh, she's part of the Inti Warriors, and they have these cool light-based abilities and technology, and then it's like she's going to become the most powerful one because everyone says, oh, you're the most powerful. She goes into the machine, it explodes, it kills everyone. Oh no, she's sad. And I was like,
my question is, why did they had to get the entire Inti Warrior faction inside there? Couldn't there be people looking out?
Right, and it's the weird thing, there's the shot at the end, because like from the initial shots after the explosion, it's like, oh, she just like nuked this entire city. And then it zooms out and it's like, oh, actually no, it was just like that one temple. Like the rest of the city's actually like more or less okay. And I was like, oh, so it's like not that bad. I guess everyone did die, but it's not that bad.
It's really
And then
strange.
I was like, I have no idea who these people are. They have no connections to anyone I care about in the Overwatch universe, so ultimately I really just don't give a shit that they all died.
Right.
Yeah. It's like similar thing to when Mina Liao was introduced, because we heard so many things about her for years, and when they finally revealed her, they just killed her off. Straight off the bat.
Right. I don't know. I'm just going to say it. I think this continues to prove that we will never get another Origin on this caliber of Sigma. It's
hard to surpass them.
I think every character release just further convinces me that we're never going to reach that bar again or surpass it.
I'll be amazed if we could somehow get one that is better than Sigma's, but probably never.
If we could even get one comparable to Doomfist, that would be impressive.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Doomfist is a close second to me.
Yeah,
same. The more time goes on, the more I think the Doomfist origin story inches like up right against the Sigma one for me.
Right.
Like, they're both goddamn good.
So good.
Yeah. And then there's one origin story I just dislike because it didn't really do anything that interests me. And it's Sojourn
one. Yeah, Sojourn's one is a nothing burger. It's a complete fucking nothing burger.
Testifying against Overwatch, and that was it.
It's just
like
nothing.
If you want to learn anything about Sojourn at all, you have to read her book.
It's completely nothing.
That's Sojourn in a nutshell. Nothing interests me.
That's another. I've told you this a million times. Yeah, that's another tier list you need to do. The fucking Overwatch Origin trailers.
Because she is actually an interesting character if you actually look into it. But it's like the way they presented it is just
cyber tactic woman. Oh.
Yeah, like the reason she is cybernetic interests me because she had like some terminal autoimmune disease that caused her body to attack her own organs.
Right. It's yeah. It's a whole thing. Yeah, so Illari's backstory is fine, I guess. It's
I think it's
fine.
Yeah, I would say it's like mid-tier, to say the least.
I'd say
it's good. They just don't give us a reason to care about it.
Yeah,
I'd say it's not connected to anything we already care about.
I'd say it's like middle to lower, like lower middle tier for me. Mm-hmm. Like obviously at the top we have like Sigma and Doomfist and Ramatra, which I just like to say that basically what this means is that all the really good Origin trailers are the villains. So I guess
villainous tanks of the best Origin story.
I guess I'd hesitate to call Sigma an actual villain.
I would say personally my favorite non-villainous is probably Soldier 76.
Really?
Origin. Yeah. I don't.
I'd say my favorite non-villainous one... Oh... Like, origin trailer specifically is... I was just going to say Ash. Nope, that's a villain. Sombra.
Yeah,
nope.
she's a villain.
Nope, that's a villain.
She's a villain too. Anna's
is like
one.
fine.
Orissa's
is fine.
Brigitte,
I think is my favorite.
Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking Ball is I like.
I think Brigitte is probably
for the music more than anything.
Yeah, I think Brigitte is my favorite. Besides, that isn't like a villain. I think.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's Illari. She's fine.
I think she's a good addition.
I think she's a good addition too. I just think that like the character herself, like the way that she behaves in this game itself, is fine, if a little uninteresting. I'd say that she herself is a little bit cardboardy.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, there's not much to her. She's angry with herself, sun lady.
Yeah,
oh boy.
She's still not even sure if it was her fault or...
Yeah, man, it's...
the Inti Warriors.
It's, oh boy. At least I will say that she's another character that I don't think is a caricature, which I like. Because I think we've had too many recently characters that are more caricatures. Right?
Like who?
I would say that Lifeweaver is something of a caricature.
Yeah.
I would say that Echo is... I'd say that Sojourn is... JQ is, but in a good way. Kiriko is definitely a caricature in the worst possible way.
I don't know if I'd really describe Kiriko as a caricature.
Why? She's just like... I feel like she's a caricature of, like, the typical rebellious, kind of snot-nosed, like, little shithead, like, teenager sort of thing.
But she, like, doesn't even achieve that. It's like, she's kind of going for it, but just is... like, falls flat on her face and is annoying. I don't think she even like hits the mark of being that type of caricature, because she's also like, oh, she's compassionate and she's like, she cares about the people, and it's like,
no,
why? But
it's like they took like 3 or 4 different caricatures.
Yeah, it's like
smashed them and then cobbled them together into like, oh, a hero.
It always has to happen. This always has to happen every single fucking episode. Like, every single fucking episode, no exceptions.
There's no escaping it.
There's no escaping it. She lives rent-free within our minds. Just...
yeah.
Is like the worst tenant ever.
Just squatting there.
So, yep, that's Illari. She's fine. I think that mechanics-wise, she's a good she's a good addition to the game. Character-wise, nothing really special.
Yeah, no word really.
I'm really hoping that Mauga, because let's be honest, it's gonna be Mauga.
Manifesting a BlizzCon 2023 release with Mauga.
Let's be honest.
And you know what we're getting? You know what we'll be getting? Another villainous tank hero origin story.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. It's I fully expect Mauga to slap, character-wise and gameplay-wise. So yeah, give us Mauga. Tanks have the best origin stories, except for Doomfist, who wasn't a tank at the time. So
that's why they had to make him a tank, so that it would fit the trend.
That's the reason they made him a tank.
The things that we trade for.
Yeah. So I guess the next thing we should probably move on to, that's like the
Flashpoint.
other big... Yes, Flashpoint.
I
It's
love Flashpoint.
it's Halo's King of the Hill mode.
It's so fresh. Like,
It's just inherently not fresh to me because it is just a copy paste of Halo's King of the Hill mode. Like it's
I
just
mean, it's like a
fresh for Overwatch.
I know, but I've been playing King of the Hill and Halo for like a
I would say
decade,
it's like a combination
over a
of,
decade,
like,
so it's not particularly fresh to me.
for me, I would say it's like a combination of both control and 2CP in a way.
Yeah, that is basically what it is.
Because when you capture a point, then that's when you move on to the next point.
Yeah.
Except like both teams are fighting for that.
And it's also just like the Halo King of the Hill mode. It's random what next point is, which is interesting.
And the map is just lasting very quickly too. I do like that because the only thing I don't like about the control maps, it's just like sometimes they just go on for so long.
Right.
Like, come on, can it be over with? That kind of deal.
Right.
Well,
Yep. Yeah.
And the maps we did get with it are fantastic too. Oh, especially New Junk City. I really enjoyed that a lot.
I love New Junk City.
Especially the loading theme. It went hard for no reason. I like it.
Yep. I would agree. It's good music. So. Yep. It's
Yeah. It's a
fine.
bug.
It's I don't know. I would say that New Junk City is, it's good. It's I do like the Junker aesthetic, so I can never complain about that. If we're gonna talk specific points, I'd say that the pit one is definitely my favorite. So
The pit one.
the pit one, like the circular one, it's like
Yeah.
it's like the Colosseum.
Oh, with the mech in the middle?
Yeah.
The first one?
I'd say that's my favorite because I like those like crazy brawls.
Correct me if I'm wrong though, but is that the area where Junker Queen's animated short took place at?
No, Junker Queen's animated short took place on the third point of Junkertown.
Junkertown. I don't know. Just the arena looks similar, especially the the upper floors where like the audience were sitting at,
Right.
in a way.
Yeah. It almost feels like the animated short version is like a weird hybrid of like Junkertown and that point in New Junk City.
I mean,
Yeah, it could have been an early version of New Junk City for all we know.
to be fair, it's not exactly like, stuff in Junkertown seems particularly difficult to take apart and reconfigure, so.
Yeah, I mean, they just throw in a bunch of scraps and called it a day. Yeah, also, it fascinates me to finally see the Omnium itself, like, inside it.
Yes, I agree.
It's so big.
Yeah, I was like,
It's
geez.
Huge.
It's ridiculous.
I was like, god damn, no wonder why it's a wasteland. This is like, so much worse than Chernobyl. What the fuck?
It's like someone set off like...
What were they cooking in there in the Omnium?
It's like someone set off like 10 Tsar Bombas just in the middle of the fucking outback. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah, no wonder why they're crazy.
So,
And why Junkrat has the pleasure of blowing off his own limbs.
Very cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about that map other than that
And
I
then,
will never
I guess
dislike
we could-
the Junkertown aesthetic because it does like so strongly contrast everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I just like also how interactive the map is, too. Like some of the objects you can mess around with, and even the details on there. Like you saw like some of the graffiti there that was pointing to a health pack.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And like depending on the hero you're playing as, if you walk into the arena, then like the announcer will like talk to you. Like,
Right.
behold, the champion! That.
Right.
Seeing, like, some of the other fighters, too. The only disappointment is we didn't get to see Three-Armed Luke.
That's right. That was a character they mentioned.
Yeah.
It's I'm getting the sense that Three-Armed Luke is probably going to end up being the next Soundquake, where everyone's interested but nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that, and then we have the map set in India, which
Suravasa.
I think is fine.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I think it's really nice looking.
Gorgeous looking, but I just playing it, I'm just like, it's fine. Yeah,
We still don't know what that giant floating donut is.
fair, but I want physically.
It's come up before. Presumably that's like some sort of
relay.
either relay or like Vishkar sort of like 3D printer that just like prints a skyscraper and just like levitates.
Oh yeah.
Or
That's
considering
what I was sort of assuming.
Or considering that
Yeah.
it's Vishkar, it could also be like a giant, like, Big Brother surveillance thing.
Yeah, it
true,
could just
because-
be like a satellite almost that just like monitors things.
Yeah, especially with the Shimbali be there and like Zenyatta
Yeah.
in that area currently.
I could see it being something a little sinister, for sure. Considering it's
Oh.
Vishkar.
Speaking of Suravasa, so you guys have seen the Lifeweaver posters on Suravasa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think, because those posters show like a shadowy image of him, but like we already know who he is, so like it's whatever. Do
Yeah.
you think Suravasa was supposed to release before Lifeweaver, and those were supposed to be teasers for him, as opposed to retrospective teasers?
I think
that
it's
is
possible,
a good possibility.
but I also really like the fact that they've attempted to make, they've attempted to make fucking Lifeweaver, of all people, look like brooding and threatening. Despite the fact that it's just look at him.
I mean, they want to make him look bad, just so to give like the other 17 countries a reason to go after him.
Okay, I guess that's fair, but I find it hilarious that somehow you managed to take Lifeweaver and make him look scary and brooding.
But at the same time, think about how much more interesting his reveal would have been if they'd built up to him, presenting him as this foreboding, ominous, like criminal type person,
Right.
and then they reveal him and it's just Fruity Flower Man. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That would have been such an amazing introduction to the hero. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, because I do like him as a character in general, like to begin with, and again, is what his motivations are after he discovered BioLite.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, he is a cool character.
Yes, he is.
His presentation is a bit cringy at times, I think. But
Oh, yeah.
like overall, he is a cool character.
But I think like we've mentioned this, like Lifeweaver is cringy in like a, this is okay. I get it. Like, this isn't terrible. He's just
I could tolerate it more than Kiriko.
he's just kind
He's
of a,
cringy in a non-Kiriko way.
yeah. He's cringy in like something of an endearing way.
Yeah.
He's just such a strange dude. Like, it's hard to dislike him. It's I feel like that's the best way to put it. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I think what's it called, Naravasa or something like that.
Suravasa?
Suravasa.
Yeah.
It's
Keep in mind, this is actually not the first time we've seen the poster, because there was a developer update they did release for
right.
Lifeweaver that did show the poster.
I think
That was after they'd revealed him.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like shortly after.
but yeah, I think Suravasa is like, it's a fine map. I honestly don't have a ton to say about it. It's I think it is a perfectly acceptable map, considering it's one of the two first maps of an entirely new game mode.
Right.
I don't think there's anything particularly special about it. I think it's kind of vanilla, which makes sense. But as a result, it looks pretty, and beyond that, I don't have much to say about it. I have much more to say about the game mode itself than the map.
I'm gonna send you something that bothers me, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's regarding a waterfall.
So, yeah, that's that. I don't know.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
When do you think we'll get the next Flashpoint map?
So...
Wait, we haven't got a push map yet.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
If I had to guess...
Season 7 will be a control map.
If I had to guess, Season 7 will be a control map. Season 9 will be a push map. And then Season 11 will be a whatchamacallit, Flashpoint map.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. Speaking... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I know Aaron Keller mentioned last year that they have already playtested the Season 13 map. So it's probably for existing mode.
Right.
For all we know.
Speaking of maps, I was watching the John Cena trailer the other night, just rewatching it because it's goofy as shit. Why John Cena? Like, I don't get it.
You can't see him.
If that's actually the reason why they're like, yeah, we're gonna make him the shadowy, mysterious guy, is because of that fucking meme. That's
you can't
disgusting.
See his so...
I think that probably was the sort of idea behind it.
That's disgusting. But anyways, yeah. So on in that trailer, it shows like a map of a city that he's like, I guess, scanning. I don't know, what would you call it? Like observing.
Yeah, it's like a surveillance type thing.
Yeah, and the map is Boston, which I'm sure anyone with ears has figured out that's where I'm from. So I don't know. I just saw that and I was like, whoa.
Now, yeah, you'd mentioned that before, and I saw you had posted it in the topics, and it made me think of something. So I checked this just now, and John Cena was born in West Newbury, Massachusetts. I don't know
That's right,
quite the proximity of that to Boston. Like, I don't know the exact geographical relevance there.
West Newbury.
But I'm wondering if that's maybe just like another reference to John Cena himself by showing something like that.
It's possible. So West Newbury is on the very northern part of Massachusetts. It's near the border with New Hampshire. It's near like Salem and Gloucester and Ipswich. It's like right. It's there's like one town between West Newbury and the border with New Hampshire. As far as I know, it's not exactly a town of much note. But that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. He is from Massachusetts. So
I'm gonna lean more towards what Ian mentioned. I think that might be the right answer.
You think so?
Especially because a lot of the clues with the whole John Cena Enigma thing were like references to himself, like his initials. And I think like his birthday showed up as like a number sequence.
They did.
That's what I'm thinking is maybe it's only that.
Right.
Or maybe there is a Boston map in the works.
I mean, from what we know, the Enigma is not actually a part of the whole Overwatch universe. It's like a marketing scheme like they did with Megan Fox on Diablo 4 and Pedro Pascal for World of Warcraft.
Right.
So, it could be nothing too significant.
I do think it would be really funny if we got a Boston map, though, because, like, I know people who like picked apart Midtown like fucking crazy, and I can guarantee you I would do the same thing for a Boston map. So
where's Ohio at?
We already got a
where's
Midway.
the Ohio map?
Okay.
Come on, Ohio sounds better. No offense.
Dude, I can't wait for the map set in Gary, Indiana.
You need a farm map so bad.
Well, let's just have every Overwatch map take place in all 50 states, including Wyoming. Because why not?
Actually,
Yellowstone, Wyoming.
a map in Wyoming would be gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Wyoming is really pretty, so that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's you know, you always hear people with the argument that like there's too many American maps, and I understand that we are in an episode with 3 Americans sitting here, but it's I will say I think America qualifies as being large and diverse enough that you can get plenty of maps out of it, and
we're just biased here.
I think, yeah, we're definitely a little biased, but I think an argument can reasonably be made for like a relatively speaking large number of maps set in the United States, because the United States is just, it's the size of the entire continent of Europe.
To be fair, we did get 3 maps in Italy alone.
Yeah, and that's like, in Italy is like the size of Florida, I think. So it's yeah, it's not all that crazy. Personally, again, I love a Boston map, and besides that, I think
I mean, heck, we got 3 maps in Australia. If you count the Lucille Ball one.
I think a map set in Hawaii would be kind of fun.
Oh, Anna would not shut up about Hawaii, so
right.
Please.
I don't know. I think one in the Midwest would be kind of fun. I don't know, somewhere in, I don't know, the Dakotas maybe could be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know.
What about a place that's not the United States?
Oh, I mean, there's a billion, right?
Tahiti, when?
I'd love a Samoa map.
Samoa, yes! You're right. Probably even that Peruvian map.
Granted, that would overlap a lot with a Hawaii map. So,
yeah.
I think you'd probably get one or the other. But,
there's also the Atlantic archaeology map, too.
Right, there's that.
I'm sure that's going to be a map at some point.
I feel like that's definitely going to be a control map.
We're
that's
all,
the next control map.
We're all still sitting here wanting Eco Point Galapagos, so...
We did technically get it! Talented!
I know.
It's not the true Galapagos.
It's not the true one.
We got giant fish! Death
jump!
Jump!
The giant turtles!
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maps for, like, locations for maps in Overwatch, the problem is that, like, God, there's so many places, right? Like, I really do want them to turn Gothenburg into a map, like a proper map, which I think would be fun. If we're gonna go outside of Europe, I will say though, I actually do want a Hague map, if for no other reason than because it would have Sigma's lab almost certainly in it. But if we're going outside of Europe, I'd love to see more like oceanic maps. So again, Hawaii, Samoa. I feel like New Zealand, that's also considered oceanic, would be kind of fun. One set in Indonesia.
I don't think we should be dragging this topic for too long.
Yeah, I know. But if I had to say the one place I want the most, I would say probably like somewhere in Kazakhstan or something like that, which is going to sound strange, but I think it'd be fun. It's a very unique look. Anyways,
for me, here, I'll get mine out of the way too. For me personally, I would like to go to the map to the destroyed Swiss headquarters.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Overwatch was.
What about you, Ian? What's your number one?
I just want to go back to Horizon.
That's fair.
Oh, yes, I don't blame you.
Anyways, yep. Boston map, please. That'd be fun. I'd have a lot to talk about, so that's good. So the other topics we have here are listed, at least, are the practice range, the crossover. That's like not really a crossover.
Now, Astro, that's not what you wrote in the notes.
I'm aware.
Come on.
What did you write in the notes?
I listed it as the dog shit crossover. It's a dog shit crossover. Like, what was the point of this?
I'll be honest. I never heard of Gentle Monster until Overwatch put that tweet out in 12 in the morning.
Yeah, and
same.
And better yet, like, I'm never gonna buy one.
If you actually look at their store right now, aside from the Diva one, yeah, let me click on the sunglasses category. What's the highest price on there? Yeah, show it to me. Goodness, their website's clunky. Yeah, most of these sunglasses go from like $300 to $600.
Bro, what like average Overwatch player is gonna be willing to pay that much for sunglasses? They're not even willing to pay that much for a skin.
I'm even surprised people are actually buying these out because some of them are out of stock.
Dude, like, you cannot tell me that the average Overwatch player who is completely opposed to buying a skin is gonna be willing to go buy a 300 pair of sunglasses plus whatever ungodly shipping costs there's gonna be from South Korea.
Okay. There's also some prescription glasses too. Okay, those at least make sense.
Hold up. Okay, I'm looking at the Gentle Monster page right now.
Yeah.
And I went to the store page for the Gentle Monster X Overwatch 2. And literally the animation they're using is an Overwatch loot box opening to reveal the glasses and like little diva figure. Loot boxes don't exist anymore. They haven't for almost a year. Why are they using a loot box in the promotion of this?
To torture us.
On the top right, they're even using the premium currency for Overwatch 2.
Torture us.
What the heck?
It's to torture us.
Why is Blizzard okay with this?
I'd also like to note that the way that you get it is through some sort of obnoxious, bizarre Instagram thing.
Yeah, there's only two ways. One, you just basically had to be invited to the Creator Summit.
Right.
And you would have received those as like a package.
Right.
Or to be lucky enough to do a cringe Instagram filter and be the winner. And the thing is, there's a blue Diva skin that's like the Aqua variant. And if I'm correct, according to Bro he claims that there's only 300 of these codes available.
Yeah, man, it's there's no I don't know. There's no winning with this one. This entire like thing seems like an utter waste of time and money. I have no idea who at Blizzard looked at the Overwatch community and went, "Yeah, they'll buy this."
I'm just glad it's not the collaboration they're hyping up about with the brand new game mode, because we're going to get a game mode which is like, what, capture the sunglasses?
Yeah, man, it's completely stupid.
And what's strange is, like, when they first started promoting it, the art itself, it did kind of look like it's AI generated in a way.
That almost wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I'm to be completely honest. Yeah,
but seriously, despite me being the guy, and I guess you could say I talk to, that like literally buys everything, I will have to pass on the Diva skin.
Yeah, man, it's ugly.
Are you gonna buy the one that you can get in game for coins?
I hope that it comes in game, because from what I keep on hearing, like, they do apparently have the bundle in the files, but I don't have access to the tools they use because they haven't released it yet.
But the fuchsia one, the pink one.
Yeah, I got the pink one. I'm talking about the blue variant one.
Yeah, the aqua.
The aqua one is the one that's like strange, because apparently the actual sunglasses themselves there's only 10% of them out of the 300 that were made. So, it's safe to say, if that's the case, that will make it the rarest skin in Overwatch history.
great. I genuinely don't fucking
More
care.
valuable than BlizzCon 2016 Bastion.
Speaking of which, 2 days ago, I was in a quick play match and somebody had that Bastion skin.
Very cool. What
I was
a
like,
legend.
hell yeah.
Awesome.
I don't even have that skin. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. Or you could just buy it off of eBay, but good luck. You'll have to shell out $1,000, and the price will keep on increasing
Right.
every year.
So,
Personally, I got my Bastion one for like $500, but the last I checked from the seller, he increased it to $1,000 now. Thanks to Overwatch 2's horrible monetization system.
So yeah, that's the dog shit crossover. Moving on, we have the hero progression. It is I don't care.
I'll just speak for me because I was a diamond border in Overwatch 1, and I do appreciate that they do finally have something you can progress through that isn't just competitive or the battle pass.
Right.
And you can work towards ranking up each individual hero to earn some rewards, even if there are only just titles, icons, and name cards.
Right.
But still, it gives you a goal to do something.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's just like a nice like extra just like feature to have in the game. They're like, it doesn't really add anything, but it's nice. It's nice to have it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I agree. I don't think it detracts at all. I'm not opposed to it existing. It's just like, okay, it's it exists. it's there. It
To be fair, though, I think it should have been there a bit earlier.
Yeah, man.
And
It should have launched with Overwatch. Too.
Yeah,
PvE and Flashpoint.
We still got a lot of missing features to list on. Because the hero progression is a great feature. I don't expect them to bring back the old Overwatch 1 leveling system, since that did cause a lot of toxicity, especially with my personal experience.
Right.
Because I'm sure both of you witnessed toxicity over, like, silver borders or higher. Like, oh, you're a silver border. You should be good at this game.
Right.
Why are you not?
I don't think that was nearly as big of a deal as people made it out to be. It's like, who cares?
I know. It's just,
You still I'm like, oh yeah,
constantly
well, maybe you should play more video games, scrub, your bronze-ass border with no stars.
most of them
And
are
just
like,
leave.
yeah. Why are you on your alt account, loser?
Yeah.
There's a
I think the idea that they scrapped the, like, profile border thing because of, like, the toxicity, I think that's a really dumb reason.
Yeah,
to
that was
scrap
dumb.
it.
Yeah,
But, like,
I know that this was Kaplan's call on it at
granted
the time.
there was something inherently very funny, because like you knew exactly what was going on when you saw this, of like
Yeah.
the profile that was like a bronze border with not even a single star in fucking top 500.
Yeah,
You were
that
just
was
like,
the only
oh
way
shit.
There's only one. There are a few ways now you have to detect if that person is using an alt account. One, they don't have a name card. Two, it's the default Overwatch icon. And three, if they're using default skins.
Right.
That's like the big red flags. And I guess their endorsement level too.
Right. Yeah.
But, aside from going off topic, the smurfing. What else do we got that was missing? Oh yeah, looking for group. We still need that because, goddamn, I hate using Discord or like some other apps to like try to look for a group, because Ian, you probably noticed on your server that the looking for group thing is getting a lot more activity.
I have noticed that, which is interesting. I wonder if any of them are like actually finding groups.
Yeah, I actually had to help some like kid that like was struggling with Underworld on Expert because no one else didn't want to do it. There was also the card thing, which basically got replaced with the new hero progression system, because each time you do level up your hero, they do say the lines when you vote an epic or legendary on them. So I think it's safe to say that will probably not come back.
Probably.
By the look of things.
Which sucks, because I liked that like brief time after a match where you could like talk or like say bye or like shit talk, which was awesome.
Yeah, they do still technically have it in the game if you play elimination.
Right. So
other than that, yeah, it's not really.
It was a little like cultural, like, you know,
give you something to do.
Yeah, it was like a little cultural, like, community session at the end of each match where, you know, some guy would leave before, like, the second that the, like, defeat screen came up. The other guy would be, like, fucking typing furiously in the chat. You would have you'd have some guy saying, like, you know, GG, and then another guy, like, telling him to kill himself. It's like it was just a classic Overwatch. Like, it was just, there was nothing quite like it.
So we're now nostalgic over toxicity.
No,
I see.
The toxicity is still very much there. It's just that the fact that there was like a designated, like, period of time at the end of every match where you would look at it and you'd go, man, my faith in humanity's gone.
I'll tell you the most satisfying thing to get. It also just showed, like, the other players' accomplishments, like how much they actually did for the team,
which was good.
And you can even compliment the enemy too if you like.
Yes, that happened actually with some frequency. It was a good little system.
Mm-hmm. Like, even if it didn't really give you much out of it other than bragging rights.
Yeah.
My favorite one that's, like, the most satisfying is, like, the MVP status, like the percentage on there. That always felt good to get on your screen.
Yes, that I agree.
Any other removed features we
got the fire back.
On? Well, yeah, I'm talking about ones that are still not in the game yet. Like, you can't play.
They removed the looking for group.
Yeah, I touched that already.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's it. Is it?
That's kind of it. Yeah.
I know they'll have to bring back archives at some point because there are achievements tied to it, and they could get in trouble if they don't make it obtainable.
Anyways, I think the next topic is the practice range. I'm not sure there's much to talk about here. I think really the most that we can talk about is the fact that, like, oh, it's an update. It's pretty good.
Yeah, one that should have probably stuff that should have been there years ago that people were begging for, like a shooting range.
Yeah.
A variety in bots. Alt canisters, thank you. I hate going into custom games every time.
Yes, that was good. It's good. I don't really use the practice range. The only time I use the practice range is when a hero first comes out, and just to test things, or to, like, open it up so that my, like, shitty hard drive has enough time to load in models so that it doesn't happen when I get into an actual match.
You used to play Overwatch on your hard drive?
No, you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It takes
I didn't know you were using that outdated thing.
It takes a minute for, like, the models to load in when I first play the game, right. So it's generally what I use first.
There.
So yeah, it's fine. I don't know. Practice range, it's a thing.
Big improvement. Nothing more to say.
No.
I guess.
Speaking of things that are, like, actually pretty significant, though, is the discussion of possible increases in hero release rates. So
yeah,
they said that they might start releasing heroes more frequently. What? Like, how are they even going to do this? Because, like, already what they do is they release a character every 6 months, which is
4 months.
4 months. Okay. How long is I thought a season was 3 months.
No, they basically went back to the Overwatch 1 cycle of releasing a hero every 4 months. I remember of Overwatch 1, it used to go by support tank damage.
Wasn't...
I mean, there were some exceptions, but still, it was always like that.
Wasn't the... don't seasons last, like, 3 months, though? Or is it 2 months?
9 weeks, typically.
So that's
62 days.
So that's like 3 months. No? Or is it like more like 2?
2 months.
It's like barely over 2 months.
Oh, is it? Oh, well.
The only exception
Okay.
was season 5, which I know Aaron did touch on, saying that some seasons may be longer or shorter, which season 5 we did get that example of.
Okay, that's probably why I got confused. Alright.
But and it does seem like after Tuesday's shop update, then I think we're going to go back to the normal Tuesday schedule.
Right. So I don't know. What do we think about this?
I'm highly skeptical.
I'm concerned that this may potentially overwork the developers.
Right.
And like pressure them to like rush out certain heroes without putting the proper care and polish it needs.
Right.
Because the Blizzard employees were already being treated like shit to begin with.
Yes.
By the higher ups, and now like they want, because I prefer quality over quantity any day, and if they just keep on pushing more quantity, that's gonna hurt the game in the long run.
Yeah, the argument I've heard for it is that basically the argument is like, oh, they're not working on talents anymore, and I mean talents were basically making new heroes. So
like, yeah. And I do get, like, they also hired, like, basically tripled their team size since Overwatch 1, which could help out a lot in terms of making content, like, 2 to 3 years in advance.
Right.
But...
yeah, I don't know. What do you think,
we'll
Ian?
just have to,
I know you're skeptical. What do you think?
Yeah.
So it's weird, because for things like this, normally I'd think it's like, oh, they're just trying to say something that seems like vaguely optimistic or what people would want to hear. Just like, oh yeah, more heroes more often, because like you don't want to say you're slowing down hero development, then people would be upset and panic. And so I normally would write this off as just like vaguely optimistic dev speak. But at the same time, it does fit the trend that Blizzard seems to be going in with Overwatch, which is like shifting into like the cheapo game design direction, where it's like, it doesn't matter how good the stuff is, just put it out. Like,
Right.
just hero releases, get people to buy the battle pass, to get people interested in the game. Just put out as many heroes as you can. Doesn't matter how good they are. Doesn't matter how unique or well told their story is. Doesn't matter what they add to the game. Just new heroes. We just need new heroes. So like, I could actually see them doing that. I really hope they don't, because it would tank the quality of the game
Right.
to just have these cheaply, rapidly produced heroes shoved out the door. But like, I don't know where to stand on it. Overall, I don't think we're going to see an increase in hero release rate, but I wouldn't say it's entirely off the table. I think it could maybe actually happen, but I don't want it to.
I mean, I would say that like if they reduce it to one every 3 months, I don't think that would be catastrophic. Instead of every 4 months, I think that would probably be okay, but I wouldn't go any lower than that. Like, because that would be like 4 heroes a year, which is, it's a lot, but it's not like totally unreasonable. But like, go beyond that, and like, yeah, I think we're gonna run into that issue of just like mass-produced, uninteresting characters.
And I think I just made a realization that in 2024, we're actually gonna have more heroes that were added compared to what we got launch.
Yes.
Because Overwatch did launch with 21 heroes.
Yep.
And by the time it reaches the end of 2024, we'll have 42 heroes.
Right. Yeah, man.
Crazy to think about.
It's pretty wild.
Wow.
It's
we'll have more DLC heroes than we do at launch. What the?
And this time they actually will be DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For reals.
Actual DLC.
I mean, you can technically count the base roster as DLC too, because they released the thing where you could buy the Overwatch 1 heroes, skipping out the entire process.
Dude, I completely forgot about that, where you like have to go through the...
you can look on the Battle.net shop right now. You can buy the whole thing for $5.
Oh.
Or if you want that and the Overwatch 2 heroes, $20.
Dude, what the fuck?
Or if you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
I don't know. The only thing that's going through my mind right now is like Baldur's Gate 3. Everyone's celebrating Baldur's Gate 3 because it doesn't have fucking microtransactions.
Yeah, that game on
it's like,
Steam is pretty overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, and guess what, guys? It's not like a live service dog shit like pay for every little scrap of content like system. It's actually just a game.
It's a complete game.
It's just a game, dude. It's like, and guess what? People like it.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's the worst thing in the world. People actually liking a game. It's horrible.
Oh my god, the triple A executives. What are they gonna do now?
Yeah,
They can't like games. They have to be addicted to them.
Honestly, that's the best way to put it. Yeah, they can't like them; they have to be addicted to them. And yeah, no, it's not great. But yeah, it's possible increase in hero releases. As I said, if they speed it up a little bit, I don't think it'd be terrible. If they speed it up, if they like have the amount of time, oh, dude, it's over.
Yeah,
it's gonna be life levers for
days.
days.
If they're going with this approach, I think it's gonna backfire on them in the long run. And they'll also have a harder time trying to balance all of those heroes around
at such a rapid rate. Yeah, like if they go with this, dude, it's just gonna be every 2 months we get like
I'm worried they're gonna crunch them to death.
Like every 2 months we just get like Lifeweaver's brother or something like that. Just like,
yeah, what's gonna happen is it's like every like 2 or 3 months we get Lifeweaver's brother.
Yeah,
he's garbage. He gets buffed every patch for the next 6 months until people realize he's just objectively broken OP, and then they turn him into a Roadhog, and we don't see him being played for like 2 years until something happens and he happens to become relevant again.
I'm not even sure that's going to
be the hero cycle. That's going to be the hero cycle.
Honestly, I'm not even sure that's going to happen for Roadhog. I think they're going to rework him, and he's probably still going to be
Roadhog again.
He's probably still going to be terrible.
Watch, they're going to release hero Junkrat's father's brothers, nephews, cousins, former roommate as a new hero.
Dude, yeah, like actually, like, I don't trust them with reworks at all. Like, at all. But, like, these newer heroes, I can't take it for granted anymore that they're going to be good. Which kind of sucks.
Yeah, in some ways they did, like, kill off, like, some of the hype for, like, new heroes.
Yeah.
Because they used to tease them all the time, and that would, like, build up anticipation and hype. Because the last real one we got was Echo, and we expected her to come to the game anyways.
Yeah, like it's just I no longer can I hear like, oh, new hero coming, and I can just be like, oh, dude, this is gonna be awesome. Like I used to take that for granted, but now it's just like, new hero coming. Okay. What's it gonna be? It's like, it's not an innate sense of excitement anymore. Which is unfortunate. Because, like, I would say that, like, the one hero that came out in Overwatch 1 where people were like, they came out and people were like, this is kind of strange, was probably Doomfist. But Doomfist, in a good way, right? Because, like, the people, like, when Doomfist first came out, people's 70% of the reactions were like, this dude is fucking weird. Okay. And the other 30% reaction was, holy shit, this is the best thing ever. So, yeah.
I was a part of that.
Yeah, I was too. So it's, I think with Lifeweaver, it's definitely more skewed in the negative direction. I think it's safe to say that people's view of Lifeweaver tends to be that he came out and everyone didn't care.
And add on the fact that, like, his kit was weak.
He's just...
And it didn't help, because I think it also decreased the sales of the Battle Pass.
I think Lifeweaver is the first time that a character came out and nobody gave a shit. Like, just nobody gave a shit at all.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, he does. I still really think that it would be fun if they reworked his... the buffs
are helping him, but still, he's not, like, top tier.
Yeah, like,
even after all those buffs.
I still think it would be really fun and interesting if they reworked his
I'm
like
still annoyed
needles.
with the audacity to make his controls so awful at launch.
Yeah. But like, I would still be so happy if they reworked his primary fire or whatever it is, I guess, to be more like the Halo needler, where like the needles themselves do basically no damage, but like land enough in someone in like a single target and they just fucking explode, and it does like 120 damage or something like that. It's
keep in mind, Wife Weaver's not DPS, so
no, he's not, but I think he would at least be more interesting.
For a DPS hero, yes, I could see.
Okay, yeah, maybe for a DPS hero, it'd be better. But
yeah, I'd almost want them to just give that sort of weapon mechanic to a new hero they add.
Right.
Down
Yeah.
the line.
Speaking of DPS hero, you think season 10 will finally see one?
Yeah,
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be a new damage hero.
because
Damage roll is like actually suffering at this point.
I mean, I'd say that every role is suffering at this point, but like,
I wouldn't say supports are suffering.
really?
They're eating
Yeah,
good.
they got 2 support heroes in
That's
a
true.
row.
I guess support's
And
already
They're
been
a
completed.
really strong role, right?
They're
Yeah.
almost in line with the tank hero by 1 hero.
That's true. Okay, I guess
Well,
that's fair.
that won't be the case in season 8, but still, they're
Us-
basically caught up with the tank. So
Us-
I think we're good on support.
Us tank boys continue to suffer. The DPS continue to suffer, but like,
I do expect like we'll get a support hero probably in April, anyway. Or no, not April. No, I'm way too advanced. August
yeah.
next year.
I don't know. Do you think the character after the DPS is going to be a tank or support? Like, which one?
They could probably go back, or they just I don't know. They'll probably go from like after our DPS, and they'll go from tank support till they're finally caught up with DPS.
And then the occasional DPS thrown in. I think that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, because that's their goal and promise they made, is like they want to be in line because of the mistake they made by splitting both offense and defense hero and merging them eventually is what caused this mess.
Right, yeah. So, yep, that's the increased hero release. The last topic that we have on our little list here is Steam.
Steam.
I should note right now that I don't really give a shit that it's on Steam. I just care that like the reviews have been so hilariously bad.
It is the worst rated game in the history of Steam. I don't think anyone other than me appreciates how phenomenal that fact is.
I'm just more surprised, like the amount of hate you even got.
Yeah,
when
like-
it happened, like I wasn't surprised, like it was gonna get negative reviewed, but not to the point where it became the worst rated game of all time, with only 9% of people rating it as a positive.
Yeah, like
And most of the positive ones were just jokes.
I would say that like if I were Aaron Keller right now, I honestly would probably be less like distraught over this and more just impressed. Just like straight like wow, the amount you guys really did it. Just more like astounded at the sheer effort put into this.
It's so funny because like we should have seen this coming.
Oh yeah.
The forums and the subreddit and like every other communal space for discussing Overwatch has been a beacon of this being the outcome for years. And I'm like, oh, let's put it on Steam where people can leave positive or negative reviews. I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Yeah, and Blizzard can't actually really delete those at all, because on the forums and Reddit, they're able to control that a lot more.
Right, they have moderation powers, and also the average person is less likely to go to either of those places and just read about Overwatch. So, like, true casuals will never see the ranting and raging that happens on Reddit and the forums, but they will see the Steam page.
Yeah, because it was on their front page at one point, and I know one of the reasons they
Still
wanted to
is.
bring
It is right now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. I just brought it up because I was looking at Baldur's Gate, and it's still there. It's part of the thing they're cycling through on the headline, featured and recommended.
Hold on, let me go to the homepage. Recommended. Yep, I see it.
It says recommended by your friend Proto. So maybe that is just a recommended for me then, and it isn't everyone necessarily.
I made a positive review on it, and it was a joke. Yeah, feel free to read it.
Up to 150,000. Nice.
Yeah, it's funny because I still am playing the game on Battle.net, but one of the reasons I opened it up was just to get all 164 achievements. So that was probably the fastest Steam game I've ever 100% on. Took less than a minute. But yeah, I definitely know one of the reasons they did want to bring on there. It was like not just for more player count, of course, but also like, well, okay, I think that is definitely one of the main reasons, and plus add on the fact that Microsoft is very close to acquiring ABK.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest promises they made was to bring more Activision Blizzard games to more platforms like the Nintendo Switch and other PC platforms.
I'm genuinely starting to think that the whole like, oh, things will get better after the Microsoft acquisition is just like hard cope. Like
I'm not guaranteeing it will.
Yeah,
I remember when they first acquired Minecraft, they literally did nothing for 2 years.
Yeah, like I genuinely think it's like some hard, desperate cope.
I initially quitted the game because of that.
Right.
Like, well, what are you doing in Minecraft? Did you waste $2 billion on that? Or no, it was $4 billion. My bad. $4 billion. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's
But no.
Yeah.
Back to Steam though. Most of the reviews, like, either they were from like TF2 spam bots, which there was like a group forming like that. But there were also people talking about like how they were dissatisfied with this state of the game it is in, the hero missions and skill trees being scrapped out.
Also, a lot of just
balancing.
Yeah, a lot of it was Chinese players who can't play anymore.
Oh, yeah, that is the big factor too, because most of them were mad because their accounts got wiped out.
Yeah, man.
After their partnership got cut off because Bobby got a little greedy and didn't want to accept Nettie's offer.
Yeah, man.
So he just screwed himself over. Billions of dollars, potentially.
Billions of accounts must die.
Yep. And, like, the Steam version was the first time that Chinese players actually have a proper way to play it. But keep in mind, it was the international version.
Right.
There's no native Chinese server.
So, like, okay. If you had to guess, how many accounts were wiped out by the Chinese thing? Like, what like order of magnitude do you think?
I would probably say like millions, to say the least, because we know last we heard in terms of numbers, Overwatch 2 had 35 million players on there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm not sure how big. No, Overwatch was huge in China.
Yes,
that's something we can't deny.
Yeah, I mean,
and them taking that away.
I know that it was a huge loss to the the amount of money that Overwatch makes. So that's
and
pretty
it
funny.
Screwed over their esports league too.
Yeah,
that's actually one of the reasons why the Overwatch league is collapsing too.
It's completely boomed. But that was, I think that was
the Chengdu Hunters no longer exist now.
And
they're gone.
And dude, the Chengdu Hunters, I don't know like how much you guys are familiar with the Overwatch League community. Dude, the Chengdu Hunters were fucking adored because they were just a bunch of fucking goobers who just played whatever the fuck they wanted and made it work. Like, they were the fucking golden child of the league because they didn't care. They knew what the meta was, but half the time they didn't care, and they just played some wacky shit with Wrecking Ball. Like, it was hilarious.
We could have had a Chengdu Hunters Wrecking Ball skin.
That exists, actually. We can't get it anymore.
No, I meant like a legendary skin, like a championship one.
Oh, yeah, no, you could do that.
That was the one they were considering if they won.
That would be absolutely perfect. So, yeah, man, rip the Chengdu Hunters. Overwatch League, you won't be missed, but Chengdu Hunters you will. So, yeah. I guess I'm sad to see the Boston team go, because that's probably going to happen. But, you know.
Yeah, we know. I'm not the Charge team. I forgot the city name, but they already agreed.
The Guangzhou.
Yeah, I butcher with a lot of names, so don't blame me.
Yeah,
But yeah, back on topic with the Steam though, there was some topics where people just straight out like listing out problems that were already resolved years ago, or like stuff that weren't even true. Like them claiming the PvE was gonna be free. No.
Yeah, that never happened.
Ian, did you ever remember any instance in BlizzCon 2019 where they said the PvE was gonna be free?
No, I'm pretty sure they actually outright said the opposite, which is that it would be like a paid for sort of like own thing.
Yeah.
Like they never said it was going to be free ever.
Which is reasonable.
Yeah, especially with the effort they had to put into. Like, yeah, I know with them scrapping hero missions and the talent trees made them less valuable.
Right.
Because I'm sure if they were still to release it, I wouldn't be surprised if it costed $40 to $60.
I would say that the number of people who would be willing to buy the PvE would have gone up immensely if, one, Blizzard wasn't being a bunch of shitheads, and two, they kept the talents and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that might have been one of the reasons why Kaplan ended up leaving. I still think one of the things that just I highly disagree with, but somehow the guy ended up getting over 9 million Steam points off of it, is like, oh, the people who do porn worked harder than the game developers.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's Overwatch.
You probably saw the community thing with everyone or a lot of people banding together with the hashtag Overwatch Developer Appreciation 2023 Day.
I had no idea about that. No.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was like streamers, content creators, and players putting out tweets just appreciating for what the devs have done for the game. And it was a success.
Well, that's good, I guess.
Hell, even Mike Ybarra, the president of Blizzard, acknowledged it.
Well, that's good.
So at least something good came out of this after all that.
Right.
But still, the damage that was done with the Steam reviews, I'm not sure if they can even...
It's not going to recover from that, no.
Yeah.
The fact that your game has become the worst rated game in Steam history. It is worse rated than some shit ass
War
kid.
of Three Kingdoms.
Like some kid's little shit ass random block pixel mover game that he somehow put on Steam. Like it's lower rated than the games that literally have pro Nazi rhetoric. It's lower than that. That's fucking impressive. And
lower than literal gambling games.
Yeah, it's I don't know how you recover from that. It's very impressive, but I don't know how you recover from that.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody recognizes how amazing it is. Just the lowest game on Steam.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
and I guarantee you the volume is not going to stop. It's going to continue
I'm
coming
sure
in.
Gabe Newell, when he signed on to this agreement, he was not expecting to see that on his own client.
I would love to know what Gaben thinks of this.
Yeah, very true.
I know Aaron Keller, he's just... Yeah, his response
was one of sheer shock and awe. I think was more the way to put it. It was the announcement that he put out was like absolute nothingness, right? Like he said something without saying anything, right? I think that's, but like you can tell by like just the way that this man put it out, like it's just utter like shock and awe, and just like the sheer hatred for this game.
Yeah, I know it was bound to happen.
It was gonna happen.
At the same time, though, it is evidence that people care.
It is,
which is better than apathy.
Yes,
so.
It is. It's there's a very famous quote from a streamer that goes, after playing a match of Overwatch, he went, "I'm not having fun, but I want to go again."
So what you're saying is it's an addiction.
I guess you could maybe call it an addiction, but like, it's just like the game is fucking misery a lot of the time. But like, there's always that like little hope that you're gonna have a game that's good, because the game is absolutely capable of having really good games.
Yeah.
But
Overwatch
like,
has
they're rare.
A lot of potential,
they're
and we
really
want
rare.
to succeed.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, man. It's I'm not sure what else there is to say about it.
Yeah, because I know some games took years for them to recover. Like, you remember No Man's Sky?
Oh yeah.
How much hate that game got?
Oh yeah.
It took them 6 years for that game to get a positive rating on Steam.
Yeah, but also that was a game made by a small dev company that actually cared about what they were making.
Yeah, even though they did break promises. That was like way too ambitious. And it took them years to eventually put it in. I mean, some of the promises are still not there, but still.
Yeah.
It's at a better state now than than what we have, and I don't think Overwatch 2 would get a positive review anytime soon.
No.
And I feel like this may be a similar thing with the other Blizzard games that will eventually come to Steam. Like, I won't be surprised if Diablo 4 is next, and that gets downvoted too.
Yeah.
Because you probably heard the terrible state the game's at right now.
Not really. I'm like peripherally aware of it, but I don't really know the details at all.
Basically, the reward you get out of the Battle Pass is crap, and you can't really get enough. It's similar to Overwatch 2.
Oh, yeah. Right.
They've literally nerfed every single class in there. So to make the game less fun to play, less experience, hard to kill enemies.
Fun.
And drove a lot of people away from the game.
Good times, good times.
Yeah, so... But I'm sure it won't surpass Overwatch 2, since that game just happened to get the most hate out of all the Blizzard games.
Well, I think that's about it, guys. We've gone through our entire list. What, Ian?
Season 6. That was...
I think we covered everything.
I think we covered everything.
Can't think of anything else to touch on for this.
All right. Well, I think it's safe to say we can end it off here then. We don't have Ness here to give us our closing quote, so Ian, you do it.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. I'm very disappointed in you, Ian. Anyways,
robots deserve to drive cars. I don't know.
Sure. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribing is good. I like that. We like likes and comments, and dear God, help us with the algorithm.
Yep. Share this video out to your homies, your Discord servers,
send it to
Twitter.
Be sure to share it with all your friends on X. Yeah.
Yeah. Send it to all the people you don't like, so that you have to put them through us, like going through all this shit.
Send it to drug addicts.
Yeah, man. Just like send it to your crazy uncle. It's all good, man.
Send it to your grandmother. Send it to your to your teacher.
Yeah, man.
Put it on
Send it to that-
billboards.
Oh.
What are you gonna say, Ian?
No, never mind.
Nah, I heard it. Nah. I heard you 100%, but I'm gonna pretend we didn't hear that.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Subscribe to Astro. Or I'll kill ya.
Yikes.